Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Crubcast, an episode number that I don't currently remember, even though Chris just said it before we started. Episode 29?
No, I didn't even say it.
Oh.
31.
Yeah, no. 31. Episode 31 of the Crubcast. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm here with some of my wonderful co-crubbers today. To my direction next to me, I have Wolf Chaos-san. Hi, Sean. How are you on this lovely day?
I am doing quite fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Are you doing?
I'm doing pretty okay. I can't complain. We're wrapping up the year. We're going to talk about next year throughout this podcast, which will be fun. And we're also going to talk about Chris, Mykonos fan. Hi, Chris. How have you been?
I'm great. I just watched Nico dance for so long. I was just starting to feel weird that we weren't also dancing.
You just felt the energy of it.
I feel nothing.
And then finally, last but certainly not least, we have All Hail Buckets, the host for today's episode. Hi, Nico.
What's going on, gamers? How's it going?
Good.
And today,
am I the only gamer? No one else said good.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. No.
Yeah, none of us have ever touched a video game in our lives.
That's fair.
So, what we are here to do today for you, dear listener, is we're breaking out. It's the end of the year. It's the end of the calendar year. We haven't determined yet if Crub operates on a different fiscal calendar or not, but as far as we know, calendar year now. And we are breaking out the crystal ball, and we are going to see what Crub thinks is going to happen in the coming year, in 2024. So with that, I will throw it right over to Kevin.
I'm back. Hi.
Yeah, Kevin's back. Kevin, what's your first prediction for 2024? What's your first thing on the card here?
The first thing on my card is that the Crubbies will be considered by the end of 2024 the most prestigious game award show on the internet.
Okay. It's a non-zero chance.
Yeah. I was holding up notes, but I realized they didn't appear on camera.
It's okay. I felt the note.
Yeah, it's a non-zero chance.
Crubbies episode coming relatively soon. We're planning that maybe for January, which is going to be funny now if we don't do it. So now that I've said it, I hope we don't do it. But yeah.
We've locked. Yeah, no, it'll be funnier if we don't. You're right.
Sean, give me like a quick prediction. What's your number one?
Not my number one, but whatever. Here's a quick one. Lord of the Rings 2 will be announced. It'll be on Tubi. It'll be on Tubi only. No other streaming service.
Lord of the Rings 2 is in a complete sequel series to Lord of the Rings, the movies.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings 2. That's what it's going to be called. And it's on Tubi only.
Is there not a second movie already called The Two Towers?
That's Lord of the Rings. It's not Lord of the Rings 2. It's Two Towers.
No, but The and Towers are smaller. It's Lord of the Rings 2, The Towers.
Yes, but it's not 2 after Lord of the Ring. Trust me. And it's also not on Tubi.
Yeah, we're walking a fine line here.
Too Fast 2, Lord of the Rings.
No, it's on Tubi only.
Okay. Chris, give me whatever prediction can live up to that.
A quick one?
Yeah.
Fortnite will add Joe Biden as a skin and be declared woke. I think that will happen to tie in with the election, and it'll cause a national divide.
Do they?
But just imagine him, doing the gritty. You could play him in Rock Band.
See, that is one of those things that is so insane that
it wraps back around to being, because there was the Animal Crossing Joe Biden Island, right? And I was like, well, what could they do next year?
That wasn't endorsed by Nintendo, though. You're saying Fortnite's Epic Games is going to be like, yeah, here's the actual president.
They put Obama
I can't say
in
what I was going to
Valhalla.
say. I can't say what I was going to say because the Secret Service will come to my house.
They didn't take that island down, is all I'm saying. They could have, flown over, so to speak, and got rid of it, but they didn't.
What do you want Nintendo to bomb the Joe Biden Animal Crossing Island?
I'm just saying they didn't, which means they implicitly endorsed it through silence. So, Fortnite, that's my quick one.
I mean, I do kind of want to watch Joe Biden just shotgun Peter Griffin in the face. I think that's just, you know what? Right. I want this to happen.
It's a great idea.
I feel like by default they would have anyone with the Biden skin would just win because I don't think you're allowed to shoot him. Oh, what if he has NPCs around him that are all Secret Service and they just take the hits and then they jump in front of him?
Like a boss. Yeah, he'd be a boss.
Raid boss, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Just Kamehameha him the entire time. You know what?
Well, there is a train on the current map for Fortnite, so
There is, yeah.
He does love
And
trains.
also,
he does like trains.
and Peter Griffin is a boss on one of the map that's surrounded by Secret Service, basically.
That
On one of the maps. He's a boss on the map in one of the locations.
This is not where I
Okay.
thought this episode was going to go.
Yeah,
Nico,
well,
what's your
whatever.
quick
Yeah.
prediction before we get
My
into
quick
real
prediction
ones?
My
Yeah.
quick prediction is that I think that, well, I hope that this will happen, but I also think
Okay.
it will too. It's about time. I think we'll see some kind of a shakeup to the hip hop game, the genre of hip hop. It's been stagnant for a while, hoping that some kind of other shakeup comes up by somebody who's not JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. Yeah, I think that'll happen. Some kind of new genre, new micro genre, something like that.
I feel like that happens frequently enough that that's a pretty safe one.
yeah.
Yes and no. I don't want to go too far into it because it's not that important, and it's also not that deep. But like, rap's been pretty samey for a while on the popular side, and I'm hoping that the popular side gets to be less samey.
Let's make, instead of, you know how there was like new metal, let's like new rap. There you go.
Okay.
Not the
That's
worst
like
idea I've ever heard, honestly.
What if we make
Nico.
barcore, like hardcore, but it's involves my dog who is currently sitting underneath me, giving me a hug.
And he just wheezes on the
He's-
track.
My dog's under the table, if you know what I'm saying.
I do know what you're saying. I've seen him.
I've never known anything you've said less than that, actually.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Yeah.
I'll show him on air.
Yeah.
You can only
Yeah, look
I
at
get it
that.
now.
you can only see
His
my
face.
dog at youtube.com/@crubofficial. You can't see his face because he'll get excited, right, buddy?
That's true.
You can't see
Uh-oh.
his face, but his face is right there.
Oh, no.
I apologize to you for audio editing this, Chris, in case he starts acknowledging. I know, my
Yes,
little
he-
Lizalfos. Go ahead. Oh, okay.
You just call him your little lasagna.
Lizalfos. He sounds like Lizalfos from like Ocarina of Time.
Ah, okay. I am deaf. Great.
Yeah.
Love that.
No, I'm going to acknowledge chat. For those that don't know, we stream these live on Twitch at twitch.tv/crub_official every Tuesday, 10 days before they air live, or rather before they air pre-recorded, we stream them live. And 10 Elements in chat just said that my dog has a jumper. No, he's not very good at basketball.
Yeah, no, he's not. We tried.
Not very good.
And he
Yeah.
was out there for like 26 minutes. He did get a steal though.
Air Bud,
Yeah.
he is not.
No.
He just had so
has a
much to
good-
live up to.
He has a good free throw percentage.
Did get an assist.
Yeah.
Goes hard in the paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's fair.
He did ask for uppies though. I mean, it
He did
came
ask
down
for
to the
uppies.
point like,
Yeah.
are you allowed to give uppies in a basketball game? It kind of came down to like Justin telling us, but then we just ignored him and did it anyway.
Yeah, Justin's the only person on earth who knows the rules of basketball. It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
While we're jumping through plugging the YouTube and the Twitch, if you go to crub.org, you get all the audio versions of the podcast on every platform you could want and Amazon. And additionally, if you go to patreon.com/crub, you get a bunch of bonus content, including some Mario Party game nights that we record. We're recording one right after this, actually. Once we're done with this podcast, you get some music chats with Nico, where he introduces each of us to a new genre of music. You get exclusive discussions of things like the Scott Pilgrim show, like maybe the Pokemon DLC 2, unless we make that a live thing towards the public YouTube. I'm not sure yet. And other general discussions that we don't tend to have here, where we get to go a little more into detail on things. So patreon.com/crub, the $5 founder tier. It's not going to last much longer, so get in before we raise the price. Yeah.
We've officially invoked getting rid of it, so you're on notice.
Yeah. That's a prediction for 2024. Now for some real predictions for 2024. I didn't actually write many down. I was going to, and then I got distracted, and I forgot. But I think I know the one that I want to predict that we can point to and say that we are wrong. And my prediction is the Switch 2, the Switch's successor, will be announced in 2024, but, because that's a safe one, it's a pretty safe bet at this point, it's not coming out till 2025. I think it's announced and it comes out in March, spring 2025 of sometime. I think they're going to do what they did with the Switch 1 because that did so well because they got an extra holiday out of it. So you get a chance to sell out early. You get 6 months of good sales. for the system, and then the holiday hits and you're already prepared because you've already ramped up production.
Yeah.
So
no, honestly, I think that tracks, right? That sounds like a really solid and safe bet.
Yeah,
I can see that.
My thing is, like, if you look at it, and this is sort of a side prediction, Nintendo is kind of, this will definitely age poorly. I know that for sure. Nintendo is kind of punting away next year. Obviously, they don't announce stuff super far out most of the time. They usually announce stuff 6 months out. But if you look at the games they're releasing, it is very end of lifetime for system game sets. There's a Princess Peach game, which, given I'm excited that there's a new Princess Peach game because that's going to reach a really important audience. And I think that's very good after the Mario movie. That's the right thing to do. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's not just mediocre. But on top of that, there's a Luigi's Mansion 2 remake for Switch. There's a Thousand Year Door remake coming out. There's a lot of remakes of beloved games and games that aren't necessarily super mega popular. And we've been seeing a lot of that this past year. Mario RPG is obviously a very beloved game. For that to get a remake feels like we're winding down new games and we're just doing whatever.
Yeah.
So
now here's a question for the class.
Okay.
Do we think that along with this new Switch, they would announce a new Smash game?
That's
not right away. I think that comes a year or two later, but it's not like a new Smash game in this instance. I predict it's just an updated deluxe version, new characters, right? Maybe 4 or 5 new characters, new stages, a new mode.
I think they'll hold off on Smash. I think, to me, the 2 launch games that come with the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called, I also think they might just call it the new Nintendo Switch. Not because of the new 3DS, but because that's what the iPhone and iPad did for a while, where they just said, here's the new iPad. And so they didn't really have model numbers, and it'll get really confusing because certain games will only work on the new Switch, not the old Switch. So it'll be really branding nightmare. I think they'll do that because that's usually what they do. And I think that the 2 games that are going to reliably be launch window games for it are Prime 4. I think Prime 4 is getting the Breath of the Wild treatment. I think that's going to be on Switch, but the real version is going to be the Switch 2 version. And whatever the new 3D Mario is, because that was the other thing. Mario Wonder, which I still have on my desk for some reason as I hit my camera. Mario Wonder was the first sign to me that they were starting to punt, because obviously this is a very creative game. From what people have said, it's still sealed, so I haven't played it. But very creative game. A lot of people really enjoyed it. But I think for them to go back to the 2D Mario style, usually to me nowadays means they're punting on the system pretty soon. They're getting a reliable sales powerhouse that's safe but maybe a little experimental, and they're moving on. So,
interesting.
Yeah,
I can dig it.
Yeah, I can dig that too. Yeah,
I have an add-on prediction to that, which is that Mario will be able to turn into a boat in the next 3D Mario game. That's all I wrote down.
Link can ride
him. See that.
What do we see as the future of Mario Kart? I'm sorry, fellas. I just keep having questions Switch related.
That's fine.
They probably won't release Mario Kart. They'll release Mario Kart 8 Deluxe HD.
Quite honestly, they might. There's a chance.
I think that Mario Kart would come out a few months later, if anything. We know they're working on another one. That kind of came out at one point. I don't know what they're going to do with it because, I mean, what else do you... Like, obviously, the anti-gravity is not going to be the gimmick anymore, so I don't know what it'll be.
Where do you go from here kind of thing?
Yeah, maybe they do something social where there's like a hub world like Splatoon, so almost like a Mod Nation, where there's like a little hub that you can drive around and see other people in. Make it a Strand type game. Stuff like that. I think that whatever it is, I'm not really concerned with what it is. I am more concerned with when it is in this particular prediction.
Yeah, because it definitely feels like it'll be coming out like a little later, because I know a lot of people are expecting it to come out next year, and I also agree. Like, I don't see it happening in 2024. I think they're gonna have like one final like launch. Like, there's gonna be one big game that comes out that's also gonna come out for the Switch too.
Yeah,
and I mean, you did bring up Metroid Prime 4, so like that.
I could see Mario doing it as well. I could see both them being cross-gen. I could see a lot of the first year of games being cross-gen in the sense of like, here's downscaled, like we just turned the graphic sliders down because that's already what they do. And like, what was the game that came out that we Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? There was the rumor of there being a Switch Pro patch for it because the game runs like absolute ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another wild card that might come out for the Switch 2 might be Animal Crossing related.
I could very much see that.
Yeah, I could see that too.
It's been 3 years.
3 years?
4 years by the time it comes out. 5 years by the time it comes out on next gen. So I could very much see there being a new Animal Crossing.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of a prediction. Another prediction I have, because I wrote down 5. So first was Lord of the Rings 2 will be announced. It's only on Tubi. Number 3 is Idaho will stop. They'll just stop to exist.
Like they'll go on strike or they'll just poof.
They'll try to go on strike. It'll be taken over. And then there's just no more Idaho. No more potatoes. You have to get them elsewhere. And really, what else does Idaho really give you? There you go.
A valid question.
Great state shape.
Oh,
yeah.
Not anymore.
Shape.
Not anymore.
True.
It's gone.
Yeah.
They'll have to fight it out like where the lines are. Yeah. People are gonna drop in. It's basically just gonna be Fortnite in real life. And then once it's all said and done, we'll have a new line. We'll only have 49 states until we, take over something in Canada. And there you go.
That way we don't have to change the flag. It's just still 50
Yeah.
stars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You just get rid of Idaho.
Yeah.
Chris, let's jump to you for another
what's
of your
yours?
predictions for this year.
Okay.
This
I
coming
have some boring ones. I'm going to pick a boring one.
Sure.
Okay.
That's exciting and fun, right? Skull and Bones, the new Ubisoft game, currently slated for mid-February. I predict that we'll get to mid-January and they will delay it once again.
They have
That's what they've done the last 3 or 4 times. They get real close to release and then they're like,
Did they ever give an actual date, though? It was usually like, oh, it'll be this year. Oh, we delayed it.
At the Game Awards, I think the trailer said like February 16th or something like that.
No, yeah, the release date, is like that's when they announced this time. But I mean, like before this, they didn't give a hard date, I don't think.
I thought they did.
My memory says last time they did, but
I thought it was
such
only
a
vaguely
meme.
insert year or insert time span,
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed one more time. It won't be for a while. Like, it won't be like more than a month or two if it does. I think at this point, they have there's like an alpha and beta coming out soon. I think that, I don't know. I think that this is it.
There's so many grants from countries and stuff make that game that I think they're just kind of at a point of like, can you just release the thing we paid you to make?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
So that's my boring one.
My favorite part about it is that there's a thing that I can now talk about, I think. By the time you're watching this, I can definitely talk about it. Which is that there's a Skull and Bones like Ubisoft partner thing. Because technically I'm a Ubisoft partner. I've never worked with them, but I'm on the creator list. And one of the things was like, exclusive Twitch drops for anyone who streams the game for their audience. They get Twitch drops, but it was only for the first 600 streamers. So they had like 600 codes that they were going to give out to
such a small amount of people
for this multiplayer game.
Right.
For this game that they want to be their Sea of Thieves, their forever game.
It's like a few servers of people, right? Like out of the millions who are watching.
Yeah. Like,
right.
What even?
That's weird.
Yeah.
In that same vein, though, Chris, I think I'm going to piggyback off of that. Just a quick sidebar. This isn't my actual prediction, but I think Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse will also get delayed in the same way.
That's
it's supposed to be coming out.
One. Yeah.
It's supposed to be coming out in March. I don't believe that for a second.
I think it already was.
Let me live fact check you. I think it already was.
I think it already was pushed back because of the strike.
Yeah.
Okay, now that the strike is over, I believe it will be pushed back once more.
Yeah.
Indefinitely
so you
delayed.
think they're still going to delay it no matter what?
Indefinitely delayed?
Yeah.
Because, the problem that Sony has is there's 3 Spider-Man movies coming out next year that they're working on. There's the Spider old lady one, there's Kraven, and there's Venom 3. Yeah. And they're coming out February, August, November.
Yeah. Dude, I told Justin, I told him that if I had known it was going to be a part 1, I wouldn't have gone to see it because I don't have faith that they're going to release the third one.
There was another thing about it where there were people who worked on the movie coming out and being like, we were insanely crunched. It was ridiculous and so terrible to work on. And also there's they're still storyboarding. The next one was part of the talks that came out, and it was like, how on earth does this movie exist then?
Yeah, the whole thing was it was supposed to be split in two. Like, it was already mostly done.
Yeah, Justin seemed to imply that it was mostly done when I was talking to him.
Which it might still be. They might be storyboarding the remaining sections, but like with how involved that movie is, I could see that being the case. Like if they had to add scenes or whatever.
Right. No, I'm not confident that movie's coming out next year. If it comes out at all, it might come out 2024. But I think or 2025, sorry. My actual prediction is that it won't come out. But
at all?
At all. I don't think they're going to release it at all.
The sequel to the most acclaimed Spider-Man movie ever.
Yes.
Maybe.
You think they're going to
think of the marketing when they bring it back in 5 years and they're like, we finished it. Here it is.
Yeah, I just don't see it. Like, you know, we never know what way businesses are going to go nowadays. It's not that I don't trust someone at the current top of it to make that decision to put it out, but it is that I don't know what'll happen to the business and what decisions they're going to make that may or may not affect the release of this movie.
You think Sony Pictures, who has already introduced direct brand synergy into the Spider-Man game universe, you think they're going to cancel the movie into which they integrated the games?
I mean, they might
if
write
David
it off.
Zaslav was running the company, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah. If it was somebody else was running the company suddenly, then sure. But
if it was the Warner
sort of-
Brothers guy, maybe. But
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm alluding to here, is that nobody saw that coming. Like, that was out of nowhere. We don't know what's going on at the tops.
That was widely anticipated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I wasn't.
I predict
paying
you'll
attention.
be wrong.
Yeah.
How about that?
yeah. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I could see it being delayed, but it's going to come out. Like my hunch would be like December. I think if there's nothing else in December, the main reason it'd be delayed into 2025 is not finishing the much.
It's cannibalism.
Yeah, as much as
Cannibalizing their
finding
market
the
rates.
right time to release it.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie's coming out in December, baby.
Oh, that's
It's
true.
locked up.
That's true.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, that's
The first
that's Chris's
Oscar-winning
movie.
Add it to
video
the
game
list.
Besides
Can I predict-
Spider-Verse.
On
Yeah,
top
Chris,
of
make
that,
another one.
they're going to keep Maria the girl being shot in the Sonic 3 movie since it's about Shadow. They're going to actually show the little girl
They're
getting
going to show a
shot.
kid getting shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The game did it. Why not the movie? Well, Shadow did later, but you know.
You know what? I'll predict that they'll do it in a dream sequence.
God, it was all a dream.
Yeah, no, I predict they'll do that in like either a hallucination or a dream sequence or something.
I
would
cannot
hate that.
see this movie gunning down a child.
It'd be off camera.
The way that it's shown in the games, it is not really off camera.
No, I
Yeah,
know, but they wouldn't do that in the movie. What I'm saying is they would style it up and make it off camera
Or
dream
would they?
sequence. Like
yeah.
they'd be like, "See, we didn't actually make it canon, so it's fine."
I think
No,
they'll
would
show
they?
Maria existing. I just think that they might just go with the space AIDS thing and have that be what takes her down.
That's
They
fair.
also, Jim Carrey will also play Gerald Robotnik, Eggman's grandfather,
Ooh, you think they're going to do
Such
the
a-
scene where he's like at gunpoint about to be executed?
and he'll get gunned down. It's all about shooting, baby.
Jesus Christ.
that
It's
actually
Shadow the
sounds
Hedgehog,
right.
baby.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey taking a dual role to be a relative of
No.
Robotnik makes a ton of sense.
You know
Yeah.
what? It won't be that he's gunned down. He's in the electric chair, so we can do a bunch of Jim Carrey shaking as he gets killed.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm into that.
And then they'll cut to the gun commander. It's like, we can't kill this guy. What's up with it?
Yeah.
And then
So-
he'll be like,
die.
bing bong, whatever Jim Carrey says.
Bing bong.
Yes.
So
that's
just-
exactly
just
what he
to-
says.
Just to say my real prediction here, I was going to predict that we will hear, like, so picture the AEW graphic of we will hear from blank, and it's we will hear from Software.
I was waiting for it.
I mean,
Yeah,
That ties into
we'll
my
have a
prediction. No
DLC.
Bloodborne announcements in 2024.
Yeah,
Got that
actually,
one out of the way.
I will also predict no Bloodborne announcements, but I do think we'll hear from FromSoft.
They have a
We haven't
DLC
heard from
coming
them.
out next year. Of course, we're going to hear from them.
Yes.
Which is why I'm predicting it.
I'm predicting
no,
there will
I
be a
think-
Crubcast in 2024.
Yeah, no, well, I think we'll hear from them,
Iffy.
right? Like, they've been eerily silent as if to send the message to fans that, like, we know that we can generate more hype by saying nothing, and we will release information on this when we are good and ready. And what's up, Chris?
One of the developers was at a Japan PlayStation event and said it's progressing quite smoothly, and did speak about the state of things.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention again.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be a lot of my problem. I think everyone's aware of that at this point. But why do you watch? Why do you listen to the Crubcast, right? You listen for our opinions on it. You don't listen for the facts.
We don't believe in facts. Speaking of facts,
what's your next prediction, Sean? Yeah,
what's your next one?
This one's a legit one. Might be a bit of a hot take.
Okay.
Amazon will buy DC Comics.
Hold on.
That's like not the worst thing. Like that's not the worst prediction I've ever heard. Like
that's like Joe Biden in Fortnite. It's so crazy that it's almost not crazy.
Because I think it is crazy because that's the only thing that Warner Brothers Discovery has. You think they're going to sell off the one thing? Like Amazon would have to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, which I think would get stopped considering that they just bought MGM.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I don't know, because what has Warner Brothers done with DC Comics lately?
They just gave James Gunn the entirety of it.
Yeah, and if that fails...
We can take it back.
I mean, the other thing I could see Amazon doing, though, is continuing to lean into non-Marvel, non-DC comic properties. Because if you look at The Boys, I believe The Boys started on DC but then moved elsewhere, or were published independently. I don't think they were published independently.
I think it was independent.
An independent like publisher, sure, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was just like a self-published thing. Like, but they moved away from DC, and I think that's what allowed, Amazon to get the rights to that like fairly cheap in comparison to something like a DC comic, right? And then you got Invincible as well. I think we'll see them continue to lean into these lesser known comic properties.
Like Fallout.
I mean, yeah.
Yes, like Fallout.
Like Fallout,
maybe video games too.
To jump back onto the DC buying point, Sean.
Yeah.
All of the James Gunn DC stuff starts in 2025. So they have a full year before we even get the results of that. So I think that one's wrong.
Warner Brothers, you never know. Warner Brothers is stupid. We both know that.
I mean, yes.
I don't know. There's just something. They're gonna do something stupid.
Amazon will. I will say, I do see Amazon buying more beloved, long-standing brands.
Yeah, maybe even like Looney Tunes. Because but then again, no, that's definitely more.
That's Warner Brothers again, yeah.
I don't know that I see them doing too much more in the like. I know they want to get into the TV and film space more, but no one subscribes to Prime for the shows.
No,
it's just added value. So at a point, all this free money they're spending, like it's all just like, hey, we have the budget, spend it. That's gonna run out. So I would say almost the opposite would be likely to happen. I don't think that they have a lot more to get into the space at this point. I think that we're going to see consolidation. I think Paramount Plus dies, so we don't get any.
Paramount Plus
don't get any of the Avatar stuff that they're supposed to do. Like that's all going to die. Or Netflix
Plus
picks it up.
Actually, dies.
I have not.
Yeah.
There's only been one thing that I like Paramount Plus has released, and that was the Beavis and Butthead movie. That is the only thing I've liked that they've done. Everything else is just, remember Good Burger? And it's just garbage.
It was
they redid Frasier. They were like, hey, here's Frasier, but now he has a smartphone and he's old.
Who's that for? I
mean, Paramount Plus is for the CBS viewers, which are predominantly 65 or older. So that tracks.
And they don't even know Paramount Plus exists.
And it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my grandma watch Frasier too and see what she says.
I hope that I know M said in our chat that there was a rumor that Paramount Plus was rebranding just to use the Showtime branding, similar to HBO Max stealing HBO. And I really like that idea because I think of Showtime and I think like late night
Ray Donovan
semi nude TV program, like a Cinemax type thing. Yeah. So I want to see Avatar: The Last Airbender sequel shows branded with Showtime because that would be really funny.
Yeah, and
Avatar on Showtime.
I I have it on good authority that even then Showtime's a dying brand.
Yeah. I mean, most of Showtime's lasting power now is stuff like they have like an NBA show, they have a couple NBA podcasts, like they're mostly sports affiliated at this point.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I had a similar my prediction was related to the Fallout show. I think that we will here's a hot take prediction. We'll get more announcements for video game related television and movie programs, and people are gonna get sick of it.
Yeah.
I think we're getting to that point already. I think
Yep. Because they're now they're taking from video games like they were taking from books before.
Yeah. And I think it depends on who's handling the properties, obviously. Like, I don't trust Paramount to handle any of it after Halo.
No.
It's free on YouTube now, by the way. So if you haven't watched it and you want to hate yourself, go ahead and watch it there. Don't give them money.
Master Chief comes.
Do we have any predictions for what either breaks the dam of that, or just what we will see next year as far as new game shows?
Sly Cooper.
Okay.
Unless it's animated.
I think what's gonna make people upset but also interested, they're going to announce an Elder Scrolls in the style of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's where my head went immediately, was to Skyrim.
That
I
reminds
was
me.
gonna guess GTA, like a GTA crime drama, and people will be like, "What's the point?"
Right.
That reminds
or
me
they'll
that,
do like a Red Dead adaptation. Sorry, Kevin. What were you gonna say?
Avowed, the Obsidian Elder Scrolls type game, is scheduled for next year. So that's coming out, and that'll probably be one of the highest rated Xbox games of the last 10 years, which is a low bar, sadly.
That's fair.
That ties in with one of my quick predictions, is that I will enjoy Avowed more than Starfield.
Oh, yeah.
That's a guarantee at this point.
Yeah.
They went away from being open world. They went into the Outer World style of let's make Ratchet and Clank planets, but like in
probably
high
more
fantasy.
into that by default.
Yeah.
There you go.
And they said that the side characters are really important to the story and enjoyment of the game. Like, it's very character driven, which is what Obsidian does. So, here's my Xbox prediction. Besides Avowed.
Okay. No Avowed.
And I don't want to make this prediction because I don't want to predict somebody losing their job. I think Phil Spencer's out by the end of next year.
That's a bold one.
I think looking at the performance of every game that's launched on Xbox, looking at the way that they are demanding Game Pass performs, looking at the fact that he was threatening publicly and privately that if Game Pass doesn't get to the minimum of like 110 million subscribers by 2030, they're going to leave gaming. That
doesn't sound like a wise decision.
Yeah, I mean, they have like 30 million Game Pass subscribers right now, which is not even the entirety of Xbox Series owners. Mind you, the Series is doing really well. It's the best-selling Xbox launched to now. Like, gaming is more popular than ever, so the Xbox Series is more popular than ever. It's just that most of those sales are in America.
Was it more than the 360?
Yes. If it's not outright more than the 360, then it definitely is when you account for Microsoft counted all of the Red Ring replacements as sales.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I could see him being out of his role at Xbox. He might still be like we promoted him to senior advisor or whatever, but what else do they have that can juice the numbers? Avowed's not going to juice the numbers. That's a Hi-Fi Rush type game. Everyone who has Game Pass is going to like it. No one's going to get Game Pass for it. Starfield did not move the needle as much as any of us expected it would. Obviously, it was very highly played for a week. And then Bethesda had to start arguing in people's DMs that the game was actually not boring. And
okay, can I talk about that for 1 second?
Sure.
I read their quote. And it really was just that. It really was just, actually, that's not boring. Like, and that to me shows some tone deaf and almost disrespectful to your audience behavior. Because I think, like, coming from like an indie developer or a game that's made by one guy, the developer, the one guy that worked on it, going on Twitter and like saying stuff like that is a little more forgivable. It's not forgivable, but it's a little more so than
there was
a major corporation. Like,
and not only that, it was responded to on their reviews.
Yeah, these were on Steam reviews. So they were responding on Steam reviews, which someone pointed out, I forget who, but it was somebody in marketing, was like, yeah, this is a common strategy nowadays that we use at a smaller scale because it almost both sides the review. So if someone leaves a bad Steam review and the developer, indie or big, responds, and they're like, oh, we'll take that into consideration, but actually we believe this, then A, you see the developers responding. So for an indie thing, that's good. B, now you're like, well, who do I believe? The comment invalidates the review to a lot of more casual passersby.
Non-critical thinkers.
Not non-critical. There's people that pass by. They're like, oh, well, this review had the developer respond to it, so it must mean that there was something controversial in the review. And there's also the YouTube, we've all seen it, someone leaves a mean YouTube comment and then you're like, hi, you're stupid, and then they say, thanks, big fan. Can't believe you responded.
Yeah, no, my favorite thing that someone ever told me to was eat glass and die, and I said, in that order? They're like, oh, I didn't think you were going to respond. Great video, by the way.
Yeah, like as soon as you call somebody out, they back off. It's because everyone talks big when they're up.
We should market our podcast in that way, by the way. It's like, well, we don't think it's boring. What's wrong with you? Right.
We're the number 100 podcast in the U.S. Cuck.
On Apple.
I think we've only had a handful of boring episodes, and they were very early on. I think we've hit a groove.
I don't
Crub
think
itself criticizes its own episode. Every episode is good at the Crubcast.
Okay, that's a good 1 year thing. I don't like the Phil Spencer prediction because I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be true. But it's, I mean, look at Xbox in the last few years, and you can't just keep going like, well, give it a few more years to get going.
The next one will be the one that does it.
Next year will be the year, And it's like,
I mean, but also that philosophy of if we don't hit this arbitrary number, we're getting out of gaming entirely. Seems like maybe
you have a backup plan.
Yeah, or an overreaction. Number one, number two, it could be due to a myriad of different reasons how they arrived at that number.
Oh, it's because they spent $100 billion in the last 5 years. Not counting the console. They've spent they spent $70 billion on Activision, $8 billion on Bethesda, hundreds of millions of dollars on Double Fine, on Obsidian, on Ninja Theory, on everybody else.
Games for Game Pass from other companies.
Yeah,
right.
So much.
And I suppose what I'm getting at is that with a company that big, and I know this from experience, sometimes the forecasts are coming from a bunch of different places, and you as an executive don't know which forecasts to believe or which ones are correct. Yeah. And so they'll just go and make up these arbitrary numbers that they don't think are arbitrary because some people may have, built a model wrong or something like that and just sent it straight to them.
Well, and if you look, there's also the element of we haven't seen the Activision sale we haven't seen the outcome. We know that the sale has gone through functionally. We haven't seen the outcome of what happens when you put Call of Duty on Game Pass.
That's right. I forgot about the Activision sale. It's been quiet the past couple months.
Call of Duty on Game Pass might be enough to get more people to jump, but the thing is, there's always the fear with Game Pass where if a game only costs $10 a month, you're not getting a finished game when it comes out most of the time. Hi-Fi Rush was an exception because that game was already being developed before the buyout anyway. Just Game Pass was conveniently the way to launch it because no one was going to buy it. Avowed will probably be that way, but that's because Obsidian was working on it before the buyout too. They might have been shortly afterwards, shortly after the buyout. But we've only really seen a handful of actual Xbox games that were in development under the Xbox ecosystem that released on Game Pass, and most of them have not been finished products. They're service games. They're Sea of Thieves. They're Halo Infinite, which took an extra year to come out and then still wasn't finished for another year, and it's still maybe only finished now. I've heard it's good now, apparently. We'll see.
Grounded.
You mean we'll see?
Grounded. Starfield has so much missing from it. It's not even funny. there wasn't an eat button. You couldn't eat things. You had to add them to your inventory and then go into your inventory. Like, things were missing from basic Bethesda game design in Starfield. Yeah. And anyway, seeing what Call of Duty looks like in the Xbox ecosystem, hopefully it's a finished game, but we saw how Modern Warfare 3 apparently turned out. And it was less finished than we're used to with Call of Duty, because those games are usually relatively polished. So I have a fear of that. I have a fear of we're not going to really, I don't think, see a huge bump in Game Pass subscribers from Call of Duty players, because the Call of Duty players on Xbox already have Game Pass. Again, there are 30 to 40 million Game Pass subscribers. There are 40 million Xbox Series out there. So obviously some of the people that have Game Pass are PC players like myself or Chris or Sean or Justin or Trav. Even you, Nico, because you have an Xbox One. So you're technically not part of that list of Xbox Series owners that have Game Pass.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is the overlap isn't necessarily that huge. Or rather, the overlap is huge. There's not much of a non-overlap in Call of Duty players that don't have Game Pass already because it's such a good deal. So if you spend $70 billion, I mean, most of that, they're spending it for King. They're not spending it for Activision. But I don't know how King adds to Game Pass subscribers. And there's a chart that they had shown to the FTC and then later, I think more publicly, where it showed their projections for the growth of Game Pass. A significant amount of that was from mobile gaming, and a significant amount of that was from cloud-focused gaming. So they expect somehow that Candy Crush players are going to subscribe to Game Pass functionally.
Yeah. I don't...
Yeah, there's gotta be some, either they're going based off of, absolutely zero data and just off of these old guys' industry knowledge alone, or someone's handing them very scuffed analyses. And I don't know which direction I think it's going.
Well, I'll tell you
those two.
One final thing before we move on from this. Yeah. The other interesting thing was that somebody at Xbox, the CFO, I think, had said, oh yeah, we want Xbox to be a platform within the competitors, within PlayStation, within Nintendo. It goes back to that thing I said 5 years ago at this point, where I predicted that Microsoft was going to buy EA. I was wrong, but it was Activision, so I was close. And that all these buyouts were leading to them forcing Game Pass onto the PlayStation ecosystem, onto the Nintendo ecosystem, because the games they had were now undeniable. So that they could get Game Pass subscribers on the competitors, which would almost be a way to Sega out of the console gaming space if they wanted to, and just be the Xbox app within PlayStation, the Xbox publishing ecosystem within Nintendo, for example. And so this, I think it was the CFO at the Xbox division said, that's what we want. A couple days later, someone else at Microsoft or Xbox said, no, we're not doing that. So now there's mixed messages now. And it wasn't like the CFO was unclear or vague. He literally said, we want to be on the competitors' platforms. So with all of this in mind, I think that there's a little more oversight into the Xbox division of Microsoft than we expected when it was spun off into its own division of the company where it had autonomy. And I almost wonder if it's because of how much money they're spending to get into the space and how much of a payout they're not seeing from it yet, that there's now daddy Microsoft has to step in. And when that happens, nothing good happens.
Yeah.
And that's my fear, because I don't want that.
You know what they say? In business, the best decisions are made hastily, snappily, and pulled back as soon as something goes wrong.
Yes. I've been talking for a while. Who else has a prediction?
I think we should just do maybe one more quick round of them, and then go to the Patreon question.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So let's start with Sean. Give us one last quick one.
So my last one is Ruth Ginsburg will return. Take that for what you will. That's it.
Sean!
Somehow Ruth Ginsburg has returned.
Wow. What a great prediction. That's just an all-time winner, man.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, no one will remember. But if you're right, you'll be the new king.
Return.
You'll be the new Zippo. You'll be the new leaker.
Where did you?
He saw the future. Like that answers it.
I have a really good one when it comes around to me then. But oh my god, he had a vision, dude. Chris, what's your next quick boy?
That was my number one, by the way.
That's the first thing I wrote down. Ruth Ginsburg will return. And not even calling her Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Ruth Ginsburg. Dude, what?
Choose Justin or Borderlands, because I have 2 left.
Well, if you call her Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she's got to have the Darth Vader mask.
Chris, you can do both. You can do both. We have enough time. You can do both.
Okay. The Borderlands movie will try to market itself like a new Morbius, and it will fail, and no one will watch it.
Oh,
I forgot about that.
I think they're going to lean into the cringe, right? They're going to be like, we're ironic. Yeah, we're Borderlands.
Yeah.
It will not work. My other is that J-Tart 9's debut album will release. It'll get 3 plays, which means that not even all of us listen to it. And then it'll suddenly go viral in South Korea in August.
Okay. We can make that happen.
Yo, if Justin had Korean K-pop stands,
yeah, right. He's unstoppable.
We're cooking.
Yeah, dude, I mean, I like the idea of
I like that you gave a month.
I like the idea of being like, okay, you know, Nico, now you and Justin have to do this.
I just want the J-Tart 9 fan cams.
Oh, I think
all
we
the
all
blingy
want that.
gifs and the zooms and the flashes.
Dude, we all specifically want that, I'd say. I don't think there's a single person who doesn't want that.
I think what we need to do for that is just set up cameras in his room during that entire thing. Just set him to record and just watch.
Yeah, well, and I think it'd be funny. Like, I think it'd be funny if his debut record is
Cam, our friend.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I'm not gonna tell him though.
Basically, we could. Yeah. I mean, basically, I would just let him live stream the whole thing if I could. That'd be really funny.
What's your prediction, Nico?
Mine is that William Shatner. Unfortunately, this is a prediction I don't want to make either.
Then don't.
I think William Shatner might be the next celebrity death in the coming year.
Such a weird way to predict.
What the?
He's
then
like
again,
90...
Sean was like, "This dead woman's going to come back," so maybe this isn't that weird. Actually,
no. We can't go from
94. Hold
no.
Like
we can't go from. I feel bad. I don't want this to be true, but I have a prediction about this man getting fired and getting a golden parachute. To I predict this woman is going to come back to life. We can't go from those two to this person's gonna die.
He's 92 years old.
Look, man, he went to space. What's left?
Yeah, he's on New Game.
He went to space. He got sad, and his body's like, "Why would I continue?"
Yeah,
he's going to New Game Plus.
That's not how it works.
We love William Shatner here at the Crubcast. We hope this does not happen.
He's going to New Game Plus.
Yeah. Do I have any actual predictions? I think no, I don't really have any like actual predictions outside of that.
Outside of Shatner going.
I mean, I think yeah. We'll Lies of P. Maybe we'll get DLC next year. I think
they announced DLC for Lies of P.
They did, but I didn't know if it's coming next year or the year after.
Every 93 years, a new William Shatner is born.
Yeah,
2024.
Honestly, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll continue to see a decline of people caring about world records.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true that's happening, but it really seems like it has.
I'm not paying attention. Anyway, let me throw out one more round of predictions before we move on to the question, because there's one thing we didn't do, and we didn't predict like what we think the game of the year is going to be. Or like the surprise of the year, or our favorite game of the year. So
of next year.
Of 2024.
Right,
so like,
okay, yeah.
So Nico, we'll go to you first. Yeah. What do you predict will be 2024's Game of the Year award winner? Not from like the Game Award specifically, but like let's say the majority of press outlets.
Okay.
And then what is the one that you think will be your Game of the Year?
Judging by recent trends, it's either going to be something open world or something turn-based. I don't have enough information myself.
When has a turn-based game?
Baldur's Gate, I guess?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate, technically. Baldur's Gate.
That's the first one in like 10 years, 15 years.
Turn-based. So Baldur's Gate is so it's going to be something in one of those two camps, I think. I don't see any of the like games that are being remade or anything really hitting that list.
Name
and
a
I
game.
don't know enough about other games that are being made next year to really dig into that thought any deeper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why
My
don't
game
you-
of the year?
Okay, if you have one, go. If not, why don't you think about it while we rotate?
Yeah, I'll probably end up playing Resident Evil 4 remake next year. At which point that might become my game of the year that year. But if FromSoft
start here,
if FromSoft releases anything, it'll probably be my game of the year most likely. Chris, would you like to go next?
I predict that the game of the year by consensus will be one that isn't announced yet, because I just looked over a list and none of that popped out as game of the year winner, right?
Oh, that's a good idea, Chris. I'll look up a list.
Yeah. For me, it'll be Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or maybe Penny's Big Breakaway if it's like really good. But I don't know. I looked at a list and none of it really stood out as like this will be a huge
Nice.
game changer game. I don't know. Nothing really popped out as like a huge thing, but
Sure.
Sean, what about
it's
you?
boring.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Oh,
seems
that's
like-
my pick. That's my pick for everything. That's my
I
pick
think
for everything.
that.
Yeah.
I'm also really interested to see what Metaphor looks like, that new Atlas game. Because it looks really stylish, but it also, like, I don't know what they're building off of when it comes to, what they did with Persona 5. I don't know if they're just going for the style. I'm interested to see how it is, because I haven't seen them really ever dive into a fantasy setting. It's been very, like, isekai centered, whereas now it's them delving into, okay, what if we do like elves and religion and things like that. So I'm interested to see how that is. That might become my game of the year, but also I've been looking forward to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth since like I beat Remake. So
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think that's my pick. That's retroactively my pick.
The only thing that I think might hold it back from being the consensus game of the year is that it's so early in the year that it's coming out.
Yeah.
That gives opportunity to a lot of others, and we don't know, like you said, Chris, a lot of the games that are going to come out this year. So one of my predictions initially that I did not write down was that we don't know what the game of the year will be yet because it's not out or it's not announced. But
When
I think
is Rebirth coming out? Sorry.
Leap Day.
Yeah.
A Leap Day. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
if that came
it's-
out in like September, I would have maybe guessed that right, but exactly what you said is why I didn't think it, because that's just February.
But at the same time, 7 Remake probably would have won Game of the Year if not for The Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So I think, I don't know. It depends on how Nomura it goes. If it goes super Nomura, then who knows? If it goes still through the plot of Final Fantasy VII, but with changes, like is what we're expecting. Like I don't think Aerith's going to get Aerith. I think it's going to be Cloud.
Oh, there's a prediction. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it's going to be Cloud.
I think he's right. I back you up on that one, 100%.
But
not that my track record has been great.
Yeah, but I think that's probably the one that I see right now. Like they'd have to really screw it up for it not to. I think because now this is Final Fantasy VII Remake's engine, but exclusively on the next gen, so they don't have to do the little hallways to mask loading. This game can be streamed off of the solid state drive.
Right.
They can do big open worlds. We've seen them have open world sections already in this game from the trailers. At least I think so. So yeah,
We've seen some interesting stuff. Yeah.
I think
and
that's
what would be your game of the year then? Do you think, or do you not? Do you want to say you don't know either?
It could be Rebirth. If it lives up to 7 Remake, it might be Rebirth. Infinite Wealth has a really, really good chance because that game's going to make me a puddle at multiple points throughout.
Fair.
I just finished Gaiden recently, and I know I'm going to be a puddle by the time Infinite Wealth ends.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I also think we maybe don't know enough about the next year, which is kind of a cop-out answer, but I think it might be a game that we don't even know is announced yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree for what it's worth. That's why I said something turn-based, something open world.
Yeah, because I don't think even if Wolverine comes out, I don't think it'll be my game of the year.
Oh, Wolverine! I'm excited for that one.
We don't have a date for it, so it might not be next year. I have a hunch it's next year, unless they get backed up. It's Insomniac. They're gonna drop another game. It's gonna be that.
Yeah.
Yo, I think Foam Stars is gonna win Game of the Year, dude. Foam Stars. That's right. Everyone's favorite, most anticipated property.
I think all those words were wrong that you just said.
I'm rooting for it though. I want it to be cool.
I think everyone wants it to be cool. Everyone wants first of all, if your attitude is not that you want every game to be cool and fun, then you have the wrong attitude.
Yeah.
Because every game should be cool and fun. It's disappointing when that doesn't happen. If that makes sense.
No,
with that,
you prepare the Patreon question of the week. I'm going to throw out one more that I just thought of because we talked about Nintendo, we talked about Microsoft. We didn't talk much about Sony. I'm going to predict that Sony releases 3 PSVR 2 games.
Nice.
Total throughout the whole year. 3.
One of them's going to be Until Dawn.
Nice.
Three
Until Dawn.
PlayStation Studios published. So not indie games that they published, in-house VR games. 3.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
I like that. I agree with that.
I was thinking during our Xbox thing, we got to balance out all the Xbox talk someday with some PlayStation dunks because it's feeling bad on the Xbox world. But
it's
PlayStation deserves some dunks.
We all want the Xbox ecosystem to succeed.
Yeah.
And Sony kind of just does the same thing right now, so it's hard to dunk on them besides for doing the same thing right now. You have the PlayStation Portal, but that's not really for any of us. We're not the audience, so it's hard to shit on it, Yeah.
Right.
Plus, none of us have one, so.
I have criticisms of Sony as a parent company, but we
Sony
very well
bad.
documented.
Sony very bad.
Yeah.
But the PlayStation ecosystem is just I wish there was more. Oh, I know. Next year, PlayStation will give me review codes on time again. There.
I'm going to predict that doesn't happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to crunch to finish reviewing these damn games.
Massive L for Sony. Okay, with that, fellas, it's time for the Patreon question of the week. That's right.
Go.
And this week, and if you, dear listener, want to have your question answered by us, potentially, on the Patreon question of the week, you can go to patreon.com/crub. We already plugged it. And with that, this week, Zoom asked, if there was one mega streaming service with every show or movie you could ask for, how much would you be willing to pay for said service, monthly payment or yearly? This does feel like market research.
Yes, it very much feels like someone for some reason was like, all right, I need to get a survey of people. Patreon.com/crub. Yeah, these guys.
Yeah.
Let me get some questions here.
But you know what? I'm happy to be part of a focus group for this. I think we can do good for it.
Yes.
It can't be expensive. That's the problem here. It's anything for me, and I'm gonna give an actual monetary answer here. I think that anything above $15 a month is getting into that expensive territory. Especially if we consider that nothing lasts forever and that, nothing is perfect or anything. If it was a perfect streaming service that had everything that I want at all times, including lost media and, canceled shows or whatever. And when I say lost media, I'm referring to the original cut of Arrested Development Season 4. It's lost media technically.
It's definitely somewhere.
It's in the extras tab, I think.
It's not on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix.
They did remove it from Netflix, but
someone
has it because there are enough people that pirated the first Season 4 cut for 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've seen some bootleg DVDs out there of it, at least. But
so it's not lost media. It's just they got to put it back up there. I will. So one thing I'll say is regarding the price point, the sad truth of it is that all of the services currently are above $15 a month anyway. Hulu's $17 a month for no ads.
Yeah.
Disney Plus is $19 a month, I think.
So then maybe up to 20, I'll say. 20 to like, again, if it's the only one I have to have, then maybe I'm being too flexible here, but maybe into like the $22 range.
I think if you did it at like 15 and then had here's the 4K version.
Yeah, and you
the
also
4K
got
one you can share with your family or whatever.
Right, I was gonna say definitely the idea of making it like, okay, we're gonna. Well, I don't like what Netflix did with the you have to log in on a home Wi-Fi. I'm thinking maybe just have it as like added devices or number of profiles.
The real answer is we need a non-publicly traded company to do this, because then we don't need infinite growth. Because that's why they're doing that. They need infinite growth. Yeah,
that's fair. And
Sean,
Sean, you go. Sorry, what price would you pay for this?
So I'm basing this off of that's everything I'm ever gonna want. That includes like if new shows are coming out, they'll be added to it. New movies come out, they'll be added to it. If that's the case, I have no reason for any other streaming service ever. So pretty much 30, 40, even $50 a month. I don't care at that point. If it's going to have everything I ever want at all points of time, $50 max, I'll go. Screw it at that point. Because again, this is stuff that I want, which could be anywhere between, I really watch Game of Thrones. I don't have HBO Max. So I have to get a thing for that because they don't have the... Because for some reason, Max doesn't do like free trials or anything like that. So, but again, if new episodes are coming out and I'm able to watch them on there, the most I'll do is $50 at that point. Like that's
you're
easy.
Saying 50
like
yes
or 15
50 like 50.
Okay.
Yeah, so like $50. Yeah, 50. I mean, again, this is stuff that like that's I know expensive. I like.
Yeah,
it is, but at the same time, if it's stuff that like I know I'm gonna watch. It's stuff that like is coming out and I don't have to like go through 7 different subscriptions and it's ad free. Why not? Especially like lost media stuff I haven't watched in like 30 years.
And the thing with Max and Paramount Plus and Peacock is they also have like live sports a lot of the time. Yeah. So there's that element too that like if they were talking about this mega service, then it probably has those as well.
Yeah, because I'm also because like Thursday Night Football, I like to watch that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's on Twitch for free, so.
Yeah, but
it's literally on Twitch. It's not even like you don't even need to have Prime. It's just on Twitch.
I know, which
is nuts
to me.
Chris, how much would you pay for an ultimate streaming service, HD Turbo?
I'm the worst person for this because I would look at how much I use it per month, and I'm on that Hulu Disney Plus Black Friday deal, which is like $4 a month, and I've watched 3 episodes of Bob's Burgers over the last 2 weeks, and that's been about it. Yeah. So I look at it and I'm like, if I break it down by value, like, is it cheaper than buying all of these things and watching them? Probably. But I just look at it and be like, man, I don't know if I need to spend money every month I'm not actually using, right? I think that $15 hit the mark for me. Yeah. But, I'm distractible. I'm not like I'm going to sit down and watch something very often. So I'm like the worst person for this.
Yeah.
So
I am basing it off of like because if I don't need any other subscription service, like I don't need TV or anything, I can just go on there. I don't need cable at that point. I just have to have the streaming service and I'm set,
That's fair. Kevin, what would you pay for it?
I ain't paying for